What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, aka Mr. Soft Hands. Notice those are perfectly placed back there. But anyways, today we're going to be comparing one of my favorite new firearms, the IWI Masada Slim, to other popular everyday carry options. And I've been thinking about this. I make a lot of videos like this, and I sort of think they're a little ridiculous because honestly, you pick up anything on this table, test it enough, train with it, you're going to be fine in any situation. With basically any round count that you see in front of you and so on. But I do understand at the same time that a lot of people want to look at their different options. They want to see the different sizes, different features, up close and personal. And also going to your local range and firearm store, they're going to get annoyed with you if you say, can I see that, can I see that, can I see that? I want them all next to each other and so on. Some places are cool about it, others aren't the greatest. But anyways, before we get started, hit the like button, drop a comment down below, put some more hate in the comments. It all helps the channel. Let me know what kind of content you want to see over here and subscribe. Anyways, the IWI Masada Slim, out of all the Micro 9s, I would probably say I'm still going Hellcat #1. I don't know, it's just the Hellcat just seems the most complete. It fits my hand perfectly, comes with great sights. It just seems the most complete to me right out of the box, and the reliability is the #1 thing for me. And then 2, I'm still going Shield Plus. I have to go Shield Plus. I absolutely love my Shield Plus. It glides like butter. It runs flawlessly. It's got great texturing. The trigger's on point. A lot of people that are rail and light snobs, don't like that it doesn't have that. But to me, I don't really care. And then 3rd is actually going to be pretty interesting. I would probably go the IWI Masada Slim or the FN Reflex. They're very similar in the fact that they have better triggers than a lot of these other everyday carry options, but they're different triggers and stuff like that. It's all personal preference. One day I like one better than the other, but the Hellcat has always stayed my favorite Micro 9. I also really do like the Canik Meta MC9. As long as I can get this thing to become reliable when they send me my new guide rod, I'll definitely be carrying this. So this is definitely up there. I just can't include that in my top list right now. But anyways, let's get down to it. This is the IWI Masada Slim, which it is very slim where it matters. What I did notice though is that the grip is thin, right? But up top the slide is a little chunkier. For instance, compared to something like the Hellcat, which we can just get that comparison out the way, it is gonna be a little thicker. So it's a little more top heavy and so on. But at the same time, that just helps with the recoil and stuff like that. All that extra mass and weight up top that you feel when you first feel it, you may feel, it feels a little unbalanced. In a way, it sort of feels like where's my XD? Sort of like my XD. My XD's got a real top heavy feel to it. But when you load a mag in there and you start shooting, you're like, okay, I really like this top heavy. It really helps with the recoil, helps with faster follow-up shots and so on. But anyways, let's get into the comparison and we can keep talking as we go. So just keep in mind 13+1 on the left. For the Masada, it's always going to be 13+1, and then the Hellcat is 15+1 in this setup. Like I said, 2 extra rounds. I mean, if 13+1 isn't enough, then I don't think I could help you at this point. So it's plenty, guys. There is the Hellcat Pro. That's 15+1 as well. But what I want to show you is that slide length. The Hellcat Pro is a little bit longer, but also a little bit thinner. Here's the Ruger SR9C. This is a subcompact thick handgun, 10+1 on the right. Look at that. 10+1 on the right, 13+1 on the left of 9mm. Pretty comparable. And then I gotta bring in the full size for you guys, or the almost full size, because all I have is small firearms and whatever you guys always say. But Glock 45, 17 rounds on the right, 13 rounds on the left, of course +1. Actually does pretty good against the Glock 45. But that is the last of the big handguns that you'll see on this table. So if that's what you wanted to see, you got to see it. Glock 43X on the right. Remember, 10+1 with OEM mags, but 15+1 in this setup right here. Much thinner in the slide, but the Masada is thinner in the grip. So it's going to be pretty similar across the board, that for a lot of these Micro 9s, they're going to be a thinner slide, but also a thicker grip. There's a GX4. It's 11+1 setup, and it does have the aftermarket backstrap, which is definitely not worth it. Do not get it for a $240 firearm and $80 backstrap. It's ridiculous. I had to do it for review purposes and see what the hype was about, but not worth it. But yeah, that's the GX4. Here's my M&P 40C, one of my favorite handguns out there. That's going to be 10+1 of 40, so obviously it's going to be thicker and Pretty comparable though, if you really want to break it down. Springfield Armory XD. This is the XD9 subcompact with the 3-inch barrel. One of my favorite handguns, one of my first handguns for everyday carry. It is thick, it is a bit heavy, but a great shooter. 13+1 on the right, 13+1 on the left. Pretty comparable when you consider overall thickness and length and stuff like that. Canik Meta MC9, 12+1 with the flush mag. Once again, 13+1 on the left for the Masada. And actually the Masada, you can see that extra round where it would come from, so very comparable. But if you actually look at the grip, they're pretty similar in width, and then also the slide is pretty similar. So I'd say they're actually pretty similar, but I'd say the biggest difference is the width of the grip this way is what makes that big difference, and just the overall feel. Like you have a lot more purchase room on here, whereas the Canik has more of a higher slide, higher bore axis, stuff like that. But great shooter. Love my Canik Meta MC9. Haven't been able to carry it yet though. Here is the CZ P10S, one of the best value firearms in the world right now. Hands down, 12+1 versus 13+1 on the left. Obviously it's going to be thicker, but look at the, I can see where that round would come from, so very comparable to the P10S. But obviously there's a big weight difference and so on for the subcompacts. All the subcompacts you're going to see are thicker, just in general, heavier in general, stuff like that. This is the Stoeger STR9 subcompact. Actually a very surprising firearm, a very pleasant firearm to shoot, especially for its size. It's about the size of a Glock 26, but it's 10+1 of 9, 13+1 of 9 on the left. People are going to say, oh, only 10+1. Guys, 10+1 is just, that is fine. That anyone who tells you otherwise is just ridiculous at this point. Sometimes you just got to like be honest with yourself and real and just, you know, obviously you want more ammo and stuff like that, and you can never have enough, but at the same time, be real, be real with yourself. It all comes down to training and being familiar with your firearm. 12+1 for the CSX on the right, 13+1 for the Masada on the left. That's slide to slide, which is crazy, and that's barrel to barrel. That's beaver tail, so frame to frame basically. Love both of these things. Next up, we'll do the XDM Elite, but this is the 9mm version. I'm really trying to get the 10mm version because I love how this thing shoots. Yes, it feels super weird with that mag well, but it's just one of those subcompacts that people complain about mag changes on subcompacts because you have your pinky hanging off and your pinky tends to get in the way. I always say, why don't you just do this? But people complain about it, so they put a mag well on it, which is removable, which sort of gives it a weird feel now, but at the same time, it's not bad. It's very easy to shoot. And because of that thick, heavy slide, the XDM is a great shooter. But 13+1 as well. And look how thick this thing is and heavy it is compared to that Masada. Very comparable in length, though. Running out of room. Let's do the SIG P365X. 12+1 versus 13+1 on the left. Pretty comparable. SIG's got a beaten, you know, being overall thinner in the slide. But with the grip on it, or without the grip, it'd be about the same width, actually, I'd say. I'd say the texturing is actually pretty similar without that grip, but up top, Masada's a little thicker, but once again, your slide doesn't matter as much. It's more about your actual grip width. Now, I think the shield is actually thinner. Yeah, it is. It's thinner in the grip, so 13+1 versus 13+1. So if you're looking for an almost identical comparison, frame-wise, frame length, the shield is there, but up top, I believe the slide is overall thinner. And it's shorter. That's barrel to barrel. That's frame to frame. I mean, you can't go wrong. Just because one firearm has, you know, 12+1 and the other one's got 13+1, or just because one is 10+1, the other one's 12+1. It's more about what you like better, what you shoot better, stuff like that. CZ P10M, once again, I'm standing on it. If this is what I had, I'd be just fine. 7+1 on the right, 13+1 on the left. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, why would you even own that? But it's much smaller. It's so easy to put in your pocket, and it was actually designed, a firearm designed for a 9mm pocket carry, and it is a beast of a firearm, CZ quality, flawless so far. And for its price, some people saw it on PSA for $229 or something like that. A CZ for $229 is just insane, and for it to be as reliable and, you know, great as a shooter as it is, unbeatable. But anyways, FN Reflex, which I'm starting to realize the reflex finish is not that great in the FDE. It's starting to come off even on the barrel for a round count. The barrel's starting to wear down. It is what it is, but it's been reliable. Great shooter. 15+1 for the reflex. 13 plus 1 for the Masada. Very comparable. I mean, both are just great. Can't complain. 12 plus 1 in the Smith & Wesson M&P 9 2.0 subcompact. I need to start shooting this thing more. It's actually been more of a safe queen since I've got it. I've put rounds through it, but not as many as I'd like. But great overall shooter. Very similar to a Glock 26, just longer, thicker, heavier. And I don't like the safety on it, but it is what it is. Like I said, 12 plus 1 on the right, 13 plus 1 on the left. And last but definitely, actually last but least, definitely, that's 100% sure, the Beretta Pico. You know I got to throw in a pocket carry comparison. Hate the Pico. It's been unreliable. As of recently, it was reliable, then unreliable, then reliable again. But look at that. That's just ridiculous. That is the thinnest production 380 in the world you're looking at, compared to the Masada. 6 plus 1 to 380 on the right, 13 plus 1 to 9mm on the left. Now that is just a crazy sight to look at. But nonetheless, hope you guys enjoyed the video. The Masada, I mean, it's a contender. That's the thing about this. They're going to keep dropping these Micro 9s. You know, Walther's going to come out with them. Stoger came out with theirs. SAR came out with theirs. You know, you're just going to keep seeing it. CZ is going to come out with theirs. They're all going to be great. As long as you test them, as long as you train with them, as long as they tend to be reliable. And here's the thing, guys. When it comes down to watching people's videos and reviews, just because you watched a couple reviews where a firearm malfunctioned or had issues, that does not speak for the whole entire United States population of gun owners. That speaks for 2, 3, 4 paid videos. If something is unreliable in that video, that could be a lemon. Everyone's gotten a lemon before. Everyone's gotten a firearm. I know people with a Canex that have ran thousands of rounds flawlessly. I know people with Canex that couldn't make it past 600 rounds. You know, it just is what it is. It's part of the firearm industry and new releases and all that. If you want your best bet at any firearm being reliable, don't buy it within the first 6 months of it coming out. It's just that simple. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe. Thanks for watching.